10 Most Valuable Vintage Bulova Watches, Value and Price Guide. Are you in the market for a vintage Bulova watch? But with over 100 years worth of models and styles, figuring out which is best for you may seem daunting. We've compiled this list of the 10 most valuable vintage Bulova watches to help make your decision easier. A Bulova watch is an accurate and reliable timepiece that ranks among the top luxury brands in the world. Bulova established its reputation early on as a premier manufacturer of high-quality watches and clocks, with timepieces and precision instruments such as those used on the first American space flights. With their rich history in horology, it only makes sense that some of their classic vintage models would warrant a handsome price tag today. There are many popular vintage Bulova models, such as the classic Accutron, Kinematic, and Lancer. But this list features only a list of the most valuable vintage Bulova watches. So, let's look at the 10 most valuable vintage Bulova watches, their value, and the factors influencing their value. Brief history: American Bulova Luxury Watch Company. The American Bulova Watch Company was founded in 1875 by Joseph Bulova, an immigrant from Bohemia, which is now part of the Czech Republic. Before the invention of digital watches in the early 1980s, the American Bulova Luxury Watch Company produced over 1 million wristwatches yearly. These timepieces were as popular as they were profitable. Unlike today's costly models, these watches offered accurate time to military personnel, who depended on them during World War II and Korea. They also had many other impressive features, including a unique tap-tempo mechanism that allowed professional musicians to alternate between two tempos without missing a beat rapidly. The company could produce these luxurious watches at such a low cost because it sourced its parts from other nearby factories. The components were manufactured massively, and the watches were assembled at Bulova's factory in New York. In the 1980s, American Bulova began to utilize the latest electronic technologies, which allowed it to produce some of the most expensive luxury watches in the world. Even though these models were costly and Bulova's sales had declined from $100 million to $50 million by 1986, it continued to employ more mass production techniques and use outside suppliers for 70% of its components. Even though Bulova is a timepiece manufacturer, it has also focused on its line of wristwatches. The Bulova chronograph was first produced in 1960, and Bulova has been using the word chronograph to describe watches featuring a chronograph function since 1940. The company officially trademarked the word chrono in 1993. Though the company no longer makes watches with this term, it still uses chronograph or chronometer to describe them. There are also other lines of Bulova watches, including the much less expensive Americana collection, which is priced at about $70 to $120. These watches are for people who want a lower-cost watch with simple time functions. Bulova watches are available in quartz and mechanical varieties, each featuring easy-to-read analog and digital time displays. Even though Bulova also produces watches with more advanced features such as unidirectional bezels, LED backlights, and LCDs, these models are still cheaper than their mechanical counterparts. Bulova's two main selling points are its watch's craftsmanship and reliability. 1. Price: $1,250. From the mid-20th century comes the Admiral watch by Bulova. This watch is a very desirable piece for collectors and watches lovers alike. This watch features a round face with a square case and is one of the most beautiful Bulova watches sold today. It is considered a vintage watch, which means it was made in 1945 or earlier. 2. Price: $303. You can purchase this beautiful Accutron watch from the late 50s for around bucks. It is easy to see why these watches are so sought after by collectors. It's a timepiece that was consistently powered by a tiny tuning fork that would vibrate at 360 Hz. While the company was originally focused on creating high-precision clocks and other timekeeping instruments, it started producing watches in the 1950s. This particular model is rare since it has a small dial and case, but many collectors love its unique design. 3. Price: $835. Bulova's rare and incredibly beautiful watch dated from 1935 and was created as an upgrade to the company's previous Accutron watches. The Precisionist has a beautiful silver border and describes itself as the first self-powering watch. It is seen in many movies, including the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You can purchase this particular watch for around $835, but if you want it in mint condition, in the original box with all packaging and accessories, you will have to pay top dollar. 4. Price, $1,835. It is another design by Bulova that is considered rare because of its case size. This model features a black dial with silver markers and indices on it. It is also seen in several films and TV shows, including the Tom Cruise vehicle Minority Report. This model of the Accutron Spaceview watch was produced in the late 50s to early 60s and was made by Bulova. This beautiful timepiece features a larger case than the other Spaceview models and is very sought after by collectors and fashion enthusiasts alike. It also includes an alarm function that can be used by pushing a button on its side. This watch is a great piece for anyone who wants to collect rare vintage watches. You could get it for around dollars depending on the condition. Of course, it will be in mint condition. 5. Price, $555. This beautiful watch by Bulova can be found in many movies and TV shows. It features a round dial with Roman numerals, a small case, and a second hand. It was made in the late 50s and is quite rare. The company meticulously restored it to preserve its original beauty for many years. A tuning fork powers the movement of this timepiece. If you want to purchase it, you can expect to pay around $555. 00 for the classic piece made almost 60 years ago. 6. Price, $425. This beautiful vintage watch was made by Bulova in the early 60s and is a must-have for any collector. It features a round case with stainless steel back and a gorgeous white dial with blue markers and indices. It has an alarm function triggered by pressing a button on its side. The design of this watch is simply gorgeous. You can purchase one from the company for around $425 if it's in good condition. If you want an original one that hasn't been restored or tampered with, you'll have to pay more. 7. Price, $1,599. This gorgeous timepiece was created by Bulova and is considered a rare model sought after by collectors. It features a long case and a silver dial with gold markers and indices. The company claims it can last as long as 50 years without maintenance, making it even more desirable for collectors. 8. Price, $499. This is a beautiful and rare model of the Accutron Spaceview watch by Bulova that was made in 1957. It's made with a tuning fork movement, making this model one of the first self-operating watches. The case measures around 30 mm and is made from stainless steel. This model has a second hand, which makes it even more unique than the other models. You can get this beautiful timepiece for around $499. 99s if you want to purchase it from the company, but of course, it will be in mint condition. 9. Price, $549. The Bulova Accutron 2 Spaceview is one of the most popular vintage models. It was first introduced in the 1960s and is still produced today. Despite this, it is still highly sought after by collectors. It is primarily because of its unique design and timeless features, making it one of the most advanced watches. It does require manual, mechanical winding to keep it powered up for use and has a fair amount of parts which make it rather complicated to service by today's standards. They look fabulous and have a lot to offer. Some collectors even prefer this to its more modern counterparts. The current models are based on the original design from the 1960s but with some minor adjustments made over time. They come in both quartz and mechanical versions and still feature a 360-degree, fused magnification crystal that allows for easy reading regardless of the position it is viewed at. They also continue to offer one of the most precise time readings, along with an accurate date display that sets it apart from today's lower-end quartz models. It features an asymmetrical case shape, which many consider one of the most attractive available today. The design is both timeless and very practical at the same time. 10. Price, $316. The Bulova Accutron 214 is a simple yet extremely attractive dress watch produced between 1963 and 1968. It is one of the most sought-after models today and represents a great example of vintage Bulova craftsmanship. It features a crisp-looking dial with large index markers, automatic movement, and a manual winding option via its crown. The case shape is still very attractive with an asymmetrical design for added appeal. The crown, which has a large number on it, is also a nice touch that helps set it apart from other watches in its class. It is made of stainless steel and fits nice and flush with the casing. They came with a variety of different dial colors ranging from white to black as well. It is another reason why there are so many variations available today. The 214 features large, easy-to-read index markers and an exhibition window on the back to view the movement in action. How much is a Bulova watch worth? Part of why people love Bulova watches so much is because they tend to be affordable, despite their seemingly high quality and prestige. However, you don't have to spend much money to get a quality timepiece. For example, the Bulova Women's Crystal Accent watch comes with a silver bezel and a quartz movement for just $99. Meanwhile, the men's version costs $10 less than $89. Other models, both men's and women's, come with prices ranging from as low as $25 to as high as $500, so you can easily find one that fits your budget. If you're on the fence about getting a new watch, consider the value of one or multiple used watches before purchasing a brand new model. Another thing that makes them worth it is the price of gold. Although it's not as abundant as it was in the 1800s, gold still holds value, especially when looking for a quality watch with an advanced movement. On top of better durability and reliability, found gold also tends to hold its value over time. Do old Bulova watches have any valve? If you own a Bulova watch, you're likely a bit sentimental about it and don't want to throw it away. If you're lucky enough to have an old Bulova watch that looks good, you might wonder if it still holds some value. And the answer is it depends. A Bulova watches that was manufactured 60 years ago, when the brand was starting, and only has made a handful of models, may be worth quite a bit. On the other hand, a model that might have been purchased at Walmart 15 years ago will likely not be worth much at all. The most important thing to consider when looking at value is that the Bulova watch must have a genuine Bulova brand name stamped. Also, the movement and case condition must be good, with no dings or dents. Because of the resilient materials used in their construction, old Bulova watches are valuable because they're hard to destroy or damage. Even if you don't wear your old vintage Bulova often, it can still be a great item for sale one day because vintage Bulova watches can be worth hundreds of dollars. Some older models of Bulova also have features that make them valuable to collectors, such as a tachymeter. You can use this device to determine the speed and distance traveled by car. However, it would be best if you took proper care of it by avoiding exposure to water and extreme temperatures. What is the value of vintage Bulova watches? The value of a vintage Bulova watch can be quite difficult to estimate, but some may run upward of $1,000 or more. Generally, the value typically falls in the range of $100 to $300 for watches from the 1950s and 1960s, while those made between 1950 and 1959 are worth around $500 on average. While many factors affect a vintage Bulova watch's price tag, like age and authenticity, it's safe to say that rarer items will fetch more money than less rare ones. For example, the Bulova Precisionist chronometer. The watch was introduced in 1957 and was one of the most accurate clocks of its time. It boasted a movement that could keep up with the constantly changing atomic clocks used to measure the passage of time. This model is quite rare today because it's a limited edition. So, the value of a Bulova Precisionist chronometer is hard to gauge. It can range from around $2,000 for one in decent condition, it breaks down the pricing by movement, to $13,000 for one with the original box and papers. One way to determine if a vintage Bulova watch will be valuable is to look at its serial numbers. This number can give you an idea as to when they were built. The serial numbers typically run from 000001-503000. It's also good practice to research the watch's age and ensure it retains its original characteristics, such as case size or shapes of dials that tell you how much it costs today. The majority of vintage Bulova watches were made between 1950 and 1967, emphasizing 5 key years: 1956, 1957, 1958, 1959, and 1960. These models are highly sought after by collectors. In this period, they made at least 3 models: the Accutron, the Autograph, and the Precisionist. Factors influencing the value of Bulova watches. Some factors influence the value of Bulova watches and make it the top watch brand. So before purchasing a Bulova watch, keep in mind these factors as they also determine the value of your watch. Quality. The quality of your Bulova watch determines its value to a great extent. A good watch requires attention to detail, from assembly, part selection, and packaging to shipping and customer service. Bulova has come a long way from the days of simple movements to sophisticated automatic and quartz movements that provide accurate timekeeping. Reliability. Bulova is known for its accuracy and reliability. They produce high-quality watches with first-class provenance, and since the company is well known among watch collectors, those who want to own a Bulova watch should be willing to pay more. The reputation of Bulova's reliability makes its watches suitable for industrial, marine, and aviation use. Bulova also provides a 2-year warranty on defects due to quality or material under normal environmental conditions in the United States, Canada, or any other state that regulates its products. Age/historical value. Like other things that age with time, so do your Bulova watches increase in value over time. Most collectors like to buy old watches. They consider vintage watches valuable. A vintage watch is not a new one or without defects, but it has the company's old history and those who used to wear it in the past. It's a proven fact that this factor will increase the value of your Bulova watch more than any other factor. Comfort and material. Bulova is known for making comfortable timepieces due to its quality materials. The overall craftsmanship is exceptional, and many of the watches are made with a solid stainless steel band that's easy to wear and won't snap or break easily. Additionally, they've always been able to produce their timepieces with a Swiss quartz movement to ensure accurate timekeeping. Various styles are available on their website and in stores for men and women, including chronographs, mineral crystal displays, lunar design collections, 18K rose gold only, dress watches, and alligator strap models. Personalization. This factor makes the watch more valuable and close to the customer. Adding personalization is also one of the reasons many individuals purchase Bulova watches. You can get a wide array of personalization options, such as a custom engraving and a custom-designed watch dial with up to 3 lines and 20 individual characters per line. So if you're looking to create a special piece of jewelry that you can keep for years, Bulova watches are the way to go. Final thoughts. Bulova is one of the world's most popular and well-known watch companies. And it has been making timepieces for over 120 years. Originally founded as a jeweler and clockmaker, they started selling their own branded watches in 1875. Today, a Bulova watch is one of the best fashion accessories you can purchase to show off your taste and style. The company manufactures many different types of watches, clocks, bracelets, jewelry items, and more. Almost every inch of their catalog features many streamlined and luxurious styles with a price to match. Above, we have listed the 10 most valuable vintage Bulova watches with their prices and value. So make your choice wisely and style the product rich in history, elegance, and appearance.